Today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the Hasbro Transformers Robots in Disguise Deluxe Class Grimlock. Canada waited a little bit longer before we started seeing these guys popping up, and found these at my local Toys R Us and picked him up and picked up the other two as well. We've already looked at Bumblebee, and I truthfully like the look of these pieces so far. I've heard some of them are a little bit more disastrous than others, but Grimlock looks like an overall well-rounded Transformer. He turns also into a green dinosaur, a little more reminiscent of Godzilla versus well, a Grimlock that we would recognize in more of the silver treatment, or I guess equally so the gold treatment in the recent Transformers movie. Recommend for ages 6 and up from the folks over at Hasbro. Love the design of the T-Rex up there. I like the artwork on that. And, you know, equally so, I like the artwork so far from what we've seen. Robots in Disguise. I know I mentioned more traditional animation. It is CG animation, but more like cel-shaded. I think it's working better for the look of Transformers versus a Transformers Prime. I just like Reboot and stuff like that. I'm just not overly a big fan of CG cartoons. That's just me. The back of the package features a 10-step transformation, transforming Grimlock from robot mode to dinosaur mode and back again. That's actually from Actually, it's not quite from the movie, but I love that narrator. Cybertron and back again. 10-step transformation. T-Rex to Grimlock. There he is right there. He also looks like he has an open and closed mouth. You can download the app on your phone, scan, I guess, the equivalent of the QR code that's on the front of Grimlock, and unlock him to play. I haven't done that yet. I haven't. I will. Haven't yet, though. Having said that, Spot's going to take a break and get this opened up. When we come back, we're going to get a better look at the Transformers Robots in Disguise Deluxe Class Grimlock. Don't go anywhere, guys. There's more heading your way. Stay tuned. The first thing we'll have a look at is Grimlock in his dinosaur mode, his T-Rex mode. And again, looking at it, it looks more like something more inspired by Godzilla than perhaps as a T-Rex. The overall design of them is pretty good. I like the coloring of them. The green actually works really well with the black. Joints are relatively tight. I have one area here with the arm that is an issue. I'll talk more about that when we get this guy fully transformed. But yeah, as it goes for a dinosaur mode, he's pretty decent. The code on the front, little sticker here. I don't really like that these are on all the pieces, but needless to say. He does have articulation. His legs do rotate. He does have a little bit of leg articulation, not so much. The arms move. And, of course, his head. His head has a little talking. Blah, 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 blah. Me Grimlock like grilled cheese. Oh, me too, Grimlock. Friends forever. Yeah, he's a pretty good-looking piece. Proportionately, I feel like he might be a little bit off. The 3-step Grimlock, I think, looks proportionately and a little more accurate to so far what he may look like in the cartoon. But in a robot mode and a T-Rex mode, I think this piece still looks pretty good. Now, to get this guy transformed, it's an interesting transformation. What you want to do first is kind of just move the legs out of the way here. Luckily, they are on a pretty good hinge, so getting them moved and out of the way is really not so much of an issue. But you want to move them out like that. I guess while you're also at it, too, you can take the hands, or what will be the hands of Grimlock, and just get your fingers in there. There's really not much of a grabbing point in there to get your fingers to pull out the fists. I guess what you can do is kind of just flick the end. It's funny that the hardest aspect of Grimlock, at least in this transformation, is just trying to get his blasted hands out of the sockets. From there, you can reach around to the top here and grab his feet. And this whole section opens up, kind of move the feet forward like that, and then these areas separate out. This is kind of where it gets to an interesting transformation. I like how the legs separate from the tail, which the tail really will be joined with the legs eventually, and then they kind of half from one another. So when you move the legs are a separate joint, but the tail tabs into the sides of the legs. This folds in like that. Bring the leg down. And then you want to connect these pieces. See, there's like a little crevice there. There's a little slot, a little peg on the inside of the leg, and those just snap into place like that. And then you pretty much have Grimlock in his, at least with his legs finished. Take his T-Rex arms, swing them back, and then take this section right here. And this, I guess this is also another area of problematic area, I guess, because you want to, this section here needs to swing forward, but you want to make sure that the arms are not in the way of it. So you want to make sure that they're kind of facing forward first. Then these pieces snap together, and then the arms tuck around to the back like that. Take the arms, the robot arms, and straighten them forward. And then you want to just rotate them around. And rotate them around like that. Finally, take his dinosaur head, flip it up, tuck it around to the back, and you've got yourself Grimlock completed. Like the look of Robot Mode. Very nice, very clean. Got the black and the green going on there, and they actually work very well together. Now, I have one issue with the arms, and I've heard this actually from a couple of other people as well. The arms work on a ratcheted joint. In fact, when you move the arms, you hear that? A little ratchet joint going on there. The downside, though, see right in there, there's a little gray tab, a little gray piece of plastic here. When you move that, it basically goes like this, and it hits the notches in the wheel of the joint, allowing you to get a ratcheted joint. I don't know what it is, but I think somebody else had a problem with this particular arm where I moved it, and that gray slot, that little gray piece of plastic, poked up and stuck up above the ratcheted joint. So it still ratchets, but you've now got a visible gray piece. And I think for a couple of people, this has broken off. You can even see right there, because it's sticking up, it's already producing a stress mark right on the top there. So that's kind of sucky. It's a shame that it has that. But for the rest of it, I really like the look of the piece. We zoom the camera in and we have a look at his face. The inclusion of this gold-orange color in his face really breaks up the rest of the black and the green. And I'm glad they went with like an orange coloring, which matches the same orange that's on his shoulders. Articulation on Grimlock, in robot mode at least. His head does rotate. It's not on a ball joint or anything like that. It just swivels left and right. Arms rotate all the way around. As we mentioned, the arms hinge. And I get this a couple of times where if it bends, sometimes I get that arm stuck. And I run the risk. I feel like I'm going to break it. But you get a ratcheted arm joint there. It also swivels. No hand articulation, no waist articulation, but the legs go forward, back. Nice swivel of the thigh, and a hinge in the knees. No real articulation in the foot. I mean, the foot does bend down, but that's really only due to his transformation. Grimlock also doesn't come with any sort of weapons, which is also a bit of a shame. But overall, really like the piece. Don't like so much that the arm is a bit problematic, because again, like even as you're bending the arm, yeah, even moving the arm, you can see how this is starting to become a loose piece. I almost want to take like something flat, like a nail file, and just kind of push the nail file down into the crevice as I'm bending the arm to try to tuck it back in there. Because guaranteed, sooner or later, I'm hoping more later than sooner, that piece is probably going to break off. But overall, like the piece quite a bit. This figure also, I don't know proportionately how he's going to scale to the rest of the other Transformers. Again, I haven't seen too much of Robots in Disguise footage yet. but I feel like this guy could probably be like a leader class. He should be probably a little bit taller than a deluxe class. If anything, give him like a Voyager class figure. Spot's also going to be looking at the 3-step, I think it's like 2 or 3-step Grimlock 2, which I'll maybe do a comparison with this guy here. But in the meantime, a great looking figure, a little problematic in the arm and stuff like that. I wish they hadn't gone the route of that little clip, but overall a pretty happy piece, a pretty happy collector here for picking up this piece. Today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the Hasbro Transformers Robots in Disguise Grimlock. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more videos and more Transformers videos heading your way. Thanks for watching as you always do. I'll see you next time.